You know, we're from Detroit, Michigan, and a little suburb, I would call, Highland Park, Michigan, actually. And it was a little rough, but me as a mom, I felt it was my duty to make sure that he was safe.
I had I would describe it as a pretty happy life. I think I was a little bit naive or aloof to what was going on around me, but I think my mom did a good job of kind of keeping me sheltered and making sure I was doing what I needed to do. In Detroit, nobody had a lot of money, and so we would take like the crates that kind of similar to what beer comes in, and we would cut the bottom out, and then we would hang it on a light post, and that was like our first baskets. And so we had one of the older kids in the neighborhood did it, and it only stayed up for maybe about 2 weeks, and somebody dunked it down. And it's plastic, so it's gonna break easily. We would play basketball, and it was always, my class against somebody else's class, and we would have these battles, and our class would always win. And so that was like the first taste of like the competitiveness of it. And I think so that was like 5th grade, where I said, okay, I like this game. I never thought like I can go play professional or things like that, but it was like, okay, like basketball is definitely my sport over, a lot of my friends were playing football, and I tried baseball, and I loved baseball, but just wasn't good at it. And so basketball was the sport for me because I was tall, and I just kind of took to it naturally.
We played for shoes because, like I said, I was a single mom, so we would look at different teams and say, oh, we get a free pair of Nikes, if we play on this team, or they get to go to Disney World if we play on this team, and eventually it got him into a good school.
I've been lucky to have some really good coaches who saw my talent and just kind of, not that I was a bad kid, but just kind of make sure that I was doing what I needed to do. And so I think probably at the age of 10, I started playing like really organized basketball and having practice all the time. And from there, I don't remember anything that didn't involve basketball. So it was always tournaments and practice and school. And then, that was my life, really.
Oh, Ricky had a lot of good people in his life. It's like started from like elementary. I don't know, something about Ricky's personality. He has that big smile, and everybody pretty much wants to protect Ricky. He has great coaches.
College in America is different because of sports. And, you see how it is around here with baskets. Sports brings people together, and it brings this sense of pride that you have. And so it's really the same culture that you have around football clubs here and basketball clubs here. That's what you have around universities. And so there's often tradition where, you grow up a sports fan, you're like a Mizzou fan, your parents were Mizzou fans, your grandparents were Mizzou fans, it gets passed down through the family. And so for us, Mizzou was some of the best times of our lives, for sure.
I think growing up, I was always a kid that wanted to go to college. Like, you see the movies, and of course you see the parties and things like that, but for me, college was the first time that I was on my own, and I didn't have my mom right there to make sure my clothes were washed and make sure I was eating. And so I had to kind of take some responsibility, but it was still in a kind of like a bubble where, I had coaches to look after me, or like everyone around me in college were the same age, and we were kind of navigating the same things. And I enjoyed college.
I was in law school. I'm older than him. And he was a freshman. It was January of his freshman year. And we met in Brady Commons. He was with a teammate that I knew, a mutual friend.
And she walked by, and he said hello to her. And I looked like, how do you know her? Like, how do you know her? And I didn't see her. And so we introduced ourselves. And she said hi, and then after that I would always see her studying in the student union where everybody hung out. And
I met him, and I thought, oh, he's cute, but then he smiled. And then when he smiled, it's I mean, everyone knows Ricky's smile. It's almost like mesmerizing. And then I was like, oh, wow.
We had a mutual friend who would kind of go over and talk to Kara, and then I would kind of follow and try to say something, but I was too nervous because she was in law school and I was intimidated and all these crazy things. But we eventually became friends, and then after a while we kind of, I think we've always liked each other, but it took a while for one of us to kind of make the move, and it's been, I guess, history ever since.
Well, when they first met, they were friends, and she brought Ricky home a lot because we live in Missouri, about an hour and a half from Mizzou. So I was used to a lot of the basketball players coming home with her as friends or going to the lake with us as friends. So of course, Ricky was one of my favorites from the beginning because he's Ricky, and so I loved him from the start. And so when they actually got together, I was thrilled.